Most people think public speaking and presentation anxiety happens during delivery. But here's a different truth. For many people, the worst anxiety shows up before the performance ever begins. It happens when you open a blank document, when you keep rereading the same sentence over and over again, when you know you should be preparing, but you just can't seem to start. This type of anxiety is called preparation anxiety, and if you felt it, then it means you're human. In fact, research backs up the idea that preparation anxiety might be more unnerving than actual performance anxiety is. Communication research by James McCroskey shows that anticipatory communication apprehension, the anxiety people feel before speaking, often triggers avoidance and procrastination long before the speech ever even happens. So, if preparation feels worse than presenting and it makes you not want to prepare, then you're not alone. Please recognize that it is not a personal flaw. It's actually anxiety at work. But the good news is this: preparation anxiety is manageable. Here are a few strategies that actually help. First, engage in writing sprints. Here's how to do this. Set a timer for 5 minutes, then write without editing. No polishing, no judging. You're only going to be in motion. Keep writing, of course, on topic. You'll notice the momentum reduces fear, and when you go back to the edit, you'll likely be surprised at how far you've actually come. Second, end every prep session with a clear starting point. Here's why this matters. For many people, the hardest part of preparation, especially writing, isn't doing the work, it's starting the work. Sitting down to a blank page creates friction, and that friction fuels anxiety. So before you stop working, write one sentence you'll begin the next time you start writing. It doesn't have to be brilliant, it just has to exist. When you come back and sit down, you're not facing a blank page, you're continuing a thought. That small shift lowers resistance, gets you moving faster, and makes preparation feel manageable instead of overwhelming. Third, chunk your preparation time. Here's why this helps. Preparation anxiety often spikes when you imagine doing everything all at once. Our brain treats that as a threat, and avoidance kicks in. Instead, break your preparation into short, predictable sessions, 20 or 30 minutes at a time, no more, no less. These smaller blocks feel manageable, which makes it easier to start. Over time, consistency matters more than intensity. A few focused sessions will take you much further than one stressful marathon will. Fourth, use AI as a support tool. Here's why this works. A blank page carries a lot of emotional weight. It asks you to generate structure, content, and clarity all at once. Using AI can lower that pressure. You might ask it for an outline, a list of examples, or a rough first draft. You're still in control of the final message, but now you're reacting, refining, and shaping instead of staring at nothing. That shift alone can reduce preparation anxiety significantly. Fifth, practice early, not perfectly. Here's the reason this matters. Anxiety feeds on uncertainty. When your brain hasn't experienced the task yet, it fills the gaps with the worst case scenarios. So do a short, low-stakes practice run early on. Record 2 minutes. Say it out loud once or twice. It doesn't need to be good, it just needs to happen. Early exposure teaches your brain that the task is survivable, which makes every later round of preparation feel easier. It'll also make performance better. And finally, do research and borrow broadly from others. Here's why this reduces anxiety. Preparation becomes stressful when you feel like everything has to come entirely from you. Watching strong speakers, reading widely, and borrowing proven starting points and strategies works. You're not copying, you're learning patterns that work. And the more models you've seen, the less pressure you feel to invent something from scratch. Preparation feels lighter when you know you're building on solid ground. And that ground becomes even more solid when you combine this with the other strategies we've talked about. Using writing sprints to build momentum, ending each session with a clear starting point, breaking your work into manageable time blocks, using AI as a support tool, and practicing early without chasing perfection. Individually, each of these helps. Together, they create a preparation process that reduces anxiety instead of amplifying it. Now I want to hear from you, wherever or however you're watching this. Share your own tips for overcoming preparation or performance anxiety. Your strategy might just be exactly what someone else needs. And always remember to speak figuratively, because rhetoric works when you know how it works.